NNPC Limited debunks owing more than $6 billion to international oil traders.
National Youth Service Corps expels 54 corps members from University of Calabar.
NDLEA arrest Vietnam-bound businessman at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport for hard drugs.
And on Good Morning Nigeria today, we shall continue our conversation on reviving cotton and textile industry, and much later, learning and development in a digital world.
Nigeria's cotton garment and textile industry was once a vibrant pillar of the nation's economy, but has faced significant challenges since its peak in the 1980s and 1990s, leading to its decline.
Well, this prompted a conversation on Good Morning Nigeria, where insights centered around the efforts to breathe new life into this important sector. One of the key guests on the program, Kingsley Uzoma, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agri-Business and Productivity Enhancement, highlights government's commitments to drive investment back into cotton production and textile manufacturing.
Uzoma also emphasizes the importance of aligning policies with modern agricultural practices and global textile demands.
And joining the conversation, other experts from Lagos, Kano, and Kaduna stressed the need for more than just policy shifts. They believe that technical manpower, training, robust support for research and development, and effective implementation of policies and intervention are essential components to revamping the sector.
Ultimately, the guests agree that proper implementation of these strategies is crucial to unlocking the potential of Nigeria's cotton and textile industry, positioning it as a major player both locally and internationally. Today, we continue with the second part of the conversation on reviving cotton and textile industry. I am Ademola Adeoye. Welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
It's a promise of more insightful conversation on this program, reaching you live on the network service of the NTA. We also have a second topic today, which is on learning and development in a digital world. I'm Yanwe John. I join Ademola to welcome you to the program. Hope you had a restful weekend, by the way.
Well, I did, but it's a wet morning today. It's been raining all night.
It's the season, so we should be contented with what
I think
it brings.
the break is over. You know, we had a break for about 3 weeks.
True.
And now the rains are back.
Okay. And of course, farmers are rejoicing. So
it's good.
All right. So we expect you to also rejoice and stay with us on the program today. You don't want to miss a bit on the program. We have newspaper review, which will come much later. But at the moment, we've got our colleague, Olajide Bello, standing by for the morning news. Olajide, good morning to you.
Good morning, Yanre. Good morning, Ademola. Good morning, Nigeria. And here is the morning news. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPC, has debunked a media report that company is indebted to international oil traders to the tune of $6.8 billion and that it has not remitted revenue to the Federation account since January, among other allegations. A statement by Olufemi Shone, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, reiterated that it's pertinent for the company to make clarifications to Nigerians who own the company that NNPC Limited does not owe the sum of $6.8 billion to any international traders. In all trading business, transactions are carried out on credit, and so it is normal to owe at one point or the other. But NNPC Limited, through its subsidiary NNPC Trading, has many open trade credit lines for several traders. The company is paying its obligations of related invoices on the first-in, first-out basis. It is not correct to say that NNPC Limited has not remitted any money to the Federation account since January, since NNPC Limited and all its subsidiaries remit their taxes to the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) regularly. This is in addition to payments of CIT to road contractors under the Road Investment Tax Credit Scheme. NNPC Limited, in a statement, says the organization regrets the tightness of fuel supply witnessed in some parts of Lagos and the FCT. The statement by Olufemi Shone, Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPC Limited, attributes the tightness to distribution challenges. NNPC Limited is urging motorists to shun panic buying, stressing that it is working round the clock with relevant stakeholders to restore normalcy. The National Youth Service Corps (NYSC) has expelled 54 corps members illegally mobilized by the University of Calabar for national service. Director General NYSC, Brigadier General Ishao Ahmed stated this while briefing newsmen in his office in Abuja.
We must all give applause to the Vice Chancellor of University of Calabar. We have 54 serving corps members in various states. These 54 we have communicated to all our state coordinators. They too, they have already been demobilized.
A Vietnam-bound businessman has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency NDLEA at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, after he tested positive to ingestion of cocaine. It was reported that during the week in the review, 6.2 billion naira worth of codeine bottles were also recovered at an airport. The 54-year-old suspect was intercepted at the boarding gate of the Abuja airport on Monday, 12th August, after the excretion observation. He ingested a total of 88 wraps of illicit drug. He claimed that he was given the cocaine pellets to swallow by a friend for onward delivery to Vietnam for a fee of $2,000 each. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has emerged victorious of the entire 20 local government area elections in Bauchi State. Announcing the result in his office, Chairman of the State Independent Electoral Commission, Ahmed Makama, said only 3 councils were not won by the PDP in the just concluded election.
The councillor that emerged victorious is from the APM. In Darzo local government, there is also a councillor that emerged from the AAC party. In Das local government, there is also a councillor from YYP. These are the 3 councillors that emerged from different political parties.
And that's the news. Good morning, Nigeria continues with Ademola and Nyenrin after this break. Don't stay.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, with undying demand. We make solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Ethnicity is unique, we have more than destination.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry life.
Together live the dream of a land with great destiny.
We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA.
Wow! Your baby is here! Congratulations!
Do not waste time. Put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery to give that first yellowish milk colostrum. Colostrum has all the important nutrients your baby needs to start a healthy life. Colostrum also helps to protect your baby against diseases. Remember, put your baby to breast within the first 1 hour of delivery. This message is from the ANRIN Project, Federal Ministry of Health.
You have to meet my best friend. She's the sweetest.
Hey, check out my hair.
Which one? The one on your head or the one in the sink? Relax. Next time, just use the Mega Growth Anti-Damage Relaxer. It's infused with wonder oils and conditioning proteins so you can retouch without breakage. Now your hair looks great.
Thank you.
Retouch without breakage with Mega Growth Anti-Damage No-Lie Cream Relaxer.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita. Prepare them to win every day.
Darling natural twists blend with her hair over time.
Yeah, that's perfect.
She's really more beautiful every week. Darling natural twists get better every day, just like you.
Imagine a world where your potential isn't limited by your bank account, where your financial dreams can become reality. That world is here with the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation scheme, Credico. Credico is one of President Tinubu's initiatives designed to put the power of consumer credit in the hands of working Nigerians. Here to help you achieve your goals, whether it's providing for your family or expanding your home or business. Visit www.credico.ng today for details. This is the renewed hope.
A new edition of TV Guide is out.
This time, we got up close and personal with a transformational legislator, the Deputy President of the Senate, distinguished Senator Barrow Jibrin.
It created a difference in terms of representation through interventions that have brought an unprecedented infrastructural development to my area.
This edition is a compendium of mind-blowing stories for your reading pleasure, ranging from technology, entertainment, economy, media, politics, family, and lots more.
It is indeed a park of excitement as we take you through every aspect of life. Pick up your copy and get abreast with issues and trending features within our space.
TV Guide, very incisive, very educative and compelling. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or any NTA station nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
We must all join hands to work hard so that we build a country for our grandchildren.
My hope is that we develop as a nation where every citizen is given his due right. There is transparency, honesty, and integrity.
Put the interests of this country first and foremost. Interests of Nigeria is being one nation, one people.
The need, if I mean, to put things right, things that have gone wrong before, to try and put right, for this, for the love of country.
Thanks for staying with us. You're still on to Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA. Up next is newspaper review.
All right, we got Chukwudi Okoli Ugbaja with us for newspaper.
How do you pronounce that name now?
That's we have been instructed to pronounce it.
She took her time and she scored 101 over 100.
Oh my goodness.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Demola.
Good morning.
In spite of the fact that it was raining caterpillars and bulldozers, I thank God I'm able to get here in one.
Honestly, your effort.
You tried.
Your effort should be commended, honestly.
Thank you.
All right, let's see what the papers have this morning. We'll begin with the leadership, and the lead story here says 1 year after, food insecurity persists despite state of emergency. The rider, FOA, projects 31.5 million Nigerians at risk of acute hunger. Stakeholders call for more aggressive approach. All right, away from that, tenure elongation, uncertainty over police leadership. Page 7 has that. And on page 24, some political stories are beginning to creep in, as we plan for 2027. And this one here says, I'm not contesting for president in 2027, according to Ganduje. Below that, don't blame leaders. IBB tells Nigerians, and that's on page 6. Tinubu leaves for France today on work stay. Work stay. That's on page 7. Debt toll in Benue. Attack hits 75. Above the masthead, we have Constitution not Nigeria's problem, according to Sule Lamido. That's on page 24. You want to find out what Nigeria's problem is, page 24 will guide you. On page 19, you can read up on Mosun fall to Tomi over claims on presidential jet seizure. All right, the last has not been heard on that, and of course, so many stories here and there. Let's see what the blueprint has this morning. The blueprint, of course, leads with the price of foodstuff in the market. It's about what the stomach is saying this morning. And it says market survey reveals prices of tomatoes, pepper, potatoes crash in FCT, Yobe, Borno, Adamawa. Riders, rice, beans, yam, maize, millet still high. Traders greedy, insincere, says farmers. All right. Let's look away from that now. Of course, the NNPCL still in a storm. We are not owing foreign traders $6.8 billion. NNPCL clarifies. And below the picture story, tension, discordant tunes, great planned tenure extension of IGP. Okay, the riders. With presidential assent to the bill, Ekwetokun is qualified, according to lawyer. No, it will halt career advancement in police force. All of that, you want to find out what's going on. And then we have blood-stained Sokoto Emir begs for rescue from bandits in video. That's on page 9, the security concern there. I have no presidential ambition. Of course, Ganduje is still speaking right here on the front page of the blueprint. I received threats over efforts to improve power sector. Okay, who threatens the power minister? You want to find out. Page 7 is here. Nigerian banks scramble to meet CBN's capital requirement deadline. That's on page 22. And finally, this morning, from the front page of the blueprint, we have Omokri. Blast Obi says security getting better on that Tinubu.
All right. Thank you, Ere. I have the Nigerian Pilot newspaper with me, and starting with the NDLA recovers 6.2 billion codeine consignment at Onne Port. Details can be found on page 5. Police vigilante group rescued 20 kidnapped victims in Kwara. Details of that story can be found on page 5. And the major headline reads, Probe, Judgment Day for 27 judges. The NJC probes 27 judges over alleged judicial misconduct. Council considered complaints on 22 petitions against 27 judicial officers, set up 4 committees to investigate allegations in petitions found meritorious, and says 18 petitions were discountenanced for lacking in merit. Details of the story can be found on page 4. NDDC affirms imperativeness of fiscal responsibility for public servants. Details can be found on page 5. Then we have Plateau State to hold special prayers for spiritual healing of the land. Governor Alia to mitigate child trafficking through quality education health care. Details on page 9. Over 10,000 Ebonyi constituents to benefit from Senator Eze's free medical outreach. Details 7. And give account of running National Assembly or face legal action. Serap to Akpabio and Abbas. Details on page 5. And the $1 trillion economy, SEC rolls out initiative to attract new listings. Details of that story is on page 21. Chooks.
This syrup, you keep hearing, deadlines from them and all that. Do they really succeed as much as the media, Anyway, who was it? Sule Lamido saying that constitution is not Nigeria's problem. I think Nigerians could agree on how to reallocate geopolitical realities in this country in a way that governance could be better, personal opinion. But after that, I tend to throw in with him, I think, a loss of integrity, rising clannishness, tribalism. Another man head Nagarawa, those are some of the things that really plague this country. You don't hear newspapers glibly, eloquently, succinctly put it out there, he was a detribalized Nigerian. We made a point of making that point way back in time because it mattered who didn't run into the tribal cocoon and all that in the effort to make sure that Nigeria keeps growing, you know, in leaps and bounds. So constitution may not really be the problem in this country. It is that men lost honor and integrity. And now everyone is, you know, being petty about national life.
Actually, that issue has been discussed many times on
Yes.
Good Morning Nigeria.
Okay.
It's not the constitution, but it's the people.
It's our attitude.
It's the people, actually, that is the problem, not the constitution.
Demola does not matter
If
as long as Chukudi rise roughshod on the rest of the world.
Even if you
It
reject
doesn't
the
make sense.
constitution today,
Yes.
and you still have the same mindset,
Yes.
you're still going to have the same result.
Exactly.
So, it's not
Yeah.
about the constitution.
If the wine
It's
is
about-
bad,
yes.
the bottle, as crisp and new as it is not going to make the wine better.
No.
You know?
No.
I think this is an investigated story, so there's no attribution, that's what we call it, about Egbetoku. He should be due by September 4.
Okay, the extension of his...
tenure elongation. Somebody
I think they said the bill has been passed. It's just left for the president to assent to it.
It's
So
okay.
they're waiting for the president.
I think it's storm in a teacup. If the man is good enough, yeah. I did a story
Actually,
where...
the controversy actually is whether, when the bill is assented to, whether he should benefit from it or not. Some
Okay.
are saying that it's legible. I mean, he should benefit from it.
Fine, if he's
Some
eligible.
others are fighting it.
If
so
it's
that's
eligible,
just the
we'll
thing.
get to know. If it's not, somebody could go to court and shoot it down. But the point I wanted to make is that we waste too much time on individualizing matters. Who is it? Paul Njepome, one of the models of integrity we had in the program, said he actually was asked, the Surveyor General then of Nigeria, he was requested by the president to please stay one more year so that he could raise people who could be like him. Please, I'm not lauding him. I'm just saying that you could look at Demola and say, oh, yes, he has served NTA for the number of years required, or he has attained 60 years, but we're going to want to give him special concession.
No.
You know?
No, that should not be the way to go. In a country where a lot of people are unemployed, in a country where the civil service, in terms of, you know, moving up the ladder, it takes a whole process and it takes a lot of time. I think that those who have served their term, you know, should give opportunity for those who are much younger. If you say build capacity, at the point whoever is, you know, leading, you know, you're the leader or the top of the organization, you should be training a successor. Because you see, you know, in the civil service, for example, maybe the person next to you has just maybe 6 months to go before he or she retires. So if you stay an extra year, you deprive the person of getting an opportunity to be in that position and also deliver his or her own quota. So I think that considering the number of people who are unemployed, considering the number of people who are in the civil service and the slow pace at which people move, I mean, when you're done with your term, let the next person, you know, show his or her capacity. There's no need for extension whatsoever.
Your impatience is understandable, given the fact that millions and millions of people are unemployed. But life will continue to be like that for some human beings seen as shooting stars.
There are exceptions.
Nobody's going to do anything about it. Some people are exceptional.
There are exceptions.
Oh, there are
so
people.
You should just understand that.
Exactly.
Well, I think exceptionals should also train exceptionals.
No.
If you're exceptional in your field, you should look at the number of years you get to stay. 35 years, you know, 60 years if it's age. That's a long time.
You have not really said anything that we have not thought about, because I'm one of those who say, Paul Kagame, whatever you did about Hutu, Tutsi, whatever, and it is time for you to go. He just got another. So I think like that. Succession in Africa is a sorry story. But I still say there are people you meet in the world you want to make a case for, and it will keep happening. It's not about our opinion, really. So the point is, let it become the exception, not the rule. That's the point. Food security. Did you see the one about tomatoes and pepper?
Yes, I read it actually.
Pepper and tomatoes.
Yes,
I think they've crashed, really.
Yes, it's heartwarming, but the challenge that we're having now is the sellers, the traders, you know, whether they will actually bring down the prices.
You're talking about Kingsley Sadolo's vampire cartels. He dropped that one and ran away.
Yeah,
you know, I keep on quoting him. The vampire cartels in the market. They will not let Nigeria move forward.
I'm not trying to make case for the sellers.
Yeah.
But that's where the problem is.
Despite the fact that we're in harvest season and you expect prices of things to go up, you ask yourself, has the price of cement gone down? Has the price of transportation gone down? Has the price of housing gone down? Is there a reduction? The price of the medications in the pharmacy, have they gone down? These are all factors.
I agree.
You know, it's harvest season, yes, but the person who sells pepper or tomato would have to buy other things. And rice is still at 80-something or 90-something, whatever.
Yeah.
And still has to pay huge house rent. School fees will go up by September. All of that is going to get all that money to do other things from that pepper or tomato he or she is selling. So if she sells, say, because, oh, it's harvest season and then we now go, I'm not making a case for them. I'm just trying to say that it's something that should go round. All right? If the price of cement goes down and maybe house rent that used to be 100,000 now goes to 80,000, of course, the person who sells tomato for 10 naira may want to sell for 7 naira because at least he can still meet his or her other needs.
Yes.
So that's the issue.
You have to resort to economists.
You can't leave farmers or traders to now remain in penury because what they sell is in season or out of season or whatever.
Not just penury, total penury. Now, is the economics of it we're really talking about. Price, I think in the MBA class, when I dropped price is the meeting point of demand and supply. Professor now practically lauded me and all that. I'm not sure that I did very well in that course at the end of the day. But the point we're making is economics dictates what happens. The supply of tomato and pepper at this point will crash too much. Otherwise, you're going to take perishables home. So it's not really about it. But she made a point.
It will crash, but it can never be as it's supposed to be. All right? No matter how much the price of tomato crashes, it can never be comparable with what it was as of last year by this time.
Okay, last year maybe.
Do you understand? So the thing is, other factors will come into it. Because if you're saying, okay, it will crash yet because of perishables and all of that, consider the fact that the person is paying more for transportation at the moment compared to what it was paid last year.
Yes.
So you do not sell because your things are going to perish and then you now go home bankrupt.
What you've said is that however good an economy is, inflation will always happen. I received 250 naira as a graduate in Bendel Broadcasting Service in those days. No graduate receives that anymore. So salaries would always go up in all countries. That will happen, you know. But at the end of the day, we should be happy. Because what did Conscience call it? Does being a container of tomato. I bought it for 15,000 about 3 months ago. It's about 5,000 now, or even 4,500. So
it used to be 1,000 naira, 1,005.
The inflation has dealt with it. It will never go back to that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's the point of it.
So that's my point. But anyways, let's look at this. President Tinubu travels to France today.
Yes.
You know, he will embark on a trip to France today, August 19, departing Abuja, the nation's capital. He's expected to return to the country after his brief work stay in France. That's according to a press statement that has been released. So, of course, we wish our president well, and as he walks from France, we hope that the nation moves smoothly.
Yes. No. A good leader would always make sure that even if he steps out for 1 month, things would always go according to plan. That's why you have a constitution. That's why you have, a deputy and all that, you know. So let's pray that things work out. Quickly, before we leave, this FAO actually projected this 21.5 million Nigerians likely to be at the risk of acute hunger more than 8 months ago. They had projected that because of the insecurity, the banditry, all that happening, they had already said it would happen. Now, what I think about is it not possible, was it not possible like a month ago to launch what we could call the beans initiative? Since beans is so easy to cultivate, they will be planting from next week, or some have even started. Was it not possible to engage in massive planting of beans, whatever agencies you use, whatever people you contract to do it, so that we can in the immediate, within 3 months of harvest, that it becomes due, actually do something to this? A task force arrangement could solve some of Nigeria's problems if you erect the right structures to get that to happen. Yeah. I've been thinking about...
But what about the challenges that they raised? So the security challenges and all that? I mean, except those ones are tackled, before you can have the results.
I agree. It's unfortunate what is happening to our brothers and sisters in the north. But to save Nigeria, if a geographical part of it cannot do the best it can it should in agriculture, take it to some other parts, but let that happen. For instance, beans grows from Kogi, the north central area into the far north. It could still have been done. And the truth is that Niger and Kogi only can plant enough food to feed Nigeria and go, particularly grain, and even send certain things abroad.
I think Niger has embarked on the massive planting.
That's it.
So, with the launch of the agricultural season.
That's a good one.
The president was there, and a lot of things were...
I'm sorry, I missed that one. So
okay.
Somebody's already thinking like that.
Yes, I think they've started.
Because many people in Nigeria are hungry at the moment.
All right, because of time we're about to go, of course, we must continue to call for the release of the abducted medical students.
My sister.
Very, very, sad story. 20 medical students still in captivity. We just hope that they get back safe and sound.
Who was the politician saying that insecurity worsened under somebody said that?
Yes.
I don't think insecurity worsened or worsened under Tinubu, but we still are not out of the woods. A lot still needs to be done. Yes.
All right. And then what do you think about people threatening the powerful power minister in his bids to improve power supply?
Powerful power supply.
What do you mean powerful power supply?
No, I mean,
power supply,
if you're in charge of the power sector, of course you should be powerful.
Power supply is almost like our performance in sports. Okay? It's like our performance in sports. So, I don't know. Ernest Okonkwo in those days, she doesn't know him, would tell us it's a ding-dong affair, when neither side is, making a real progress on the pitch. So power supply and sports in Nigeria,
right now.
They are a ding-dong affair. There's an improvement.
So Nigerians, of course, are asking those threatening the power minister to please stop threatening him. Just so we can continue to have stable power.
It's a systemic thing. Nigerians know why power is not steady in this country. Attitude again. Somebody is sabotaging something somewhere.
Okay.
All
right. So thank you very much, Chooks.
Thank you.
All right, we now draw the curtain on newspaper review for this morning. So hope to see you tomorrow. But before we go, did you watch the matches yesterday?
Well, I would always watch Arsenal. In the place of Super Eagles, I watch Arsenal, and I want to say that the pounding we gave Wolves was quite proof of the fact that we are ready, even readier this time around. Arsenal will beat Man City by 7 points at the end of the season.
Yes. What did you say?
Arsenal will beat Man City by 7 points at the end of the season. And when it happens, and you keep
to win the trophy, is that what you mean?
Chukudi here, I will ask.
Is that your prophecy that Arsenal would win the league this season?
Oh, it has happened already.
Oh no!
Please, when you begin to call me Prophet Chukudi and the commercial department charges you for advertising me,
this is not the first time they are starting so well.
Yes,
they start so well, but they end badly. That's just the sad thing about it.
I always have an answer for people like you.
They always start. 2 seasons ago, they started well.
Yes.
And they lost at the end of the day. Last season, the same thing happened.
Arsenal did not lose to Man City 2 seasons ago.
No, listen.
Wait.
They lost to who?
They didn't lose to Man City.
But they lost.
They lost to inexperience.
Oh, no.
A team you put together 3 years ago, you wanted to beat Man City within, you do know the institution Man City.
You're always coming up with excuses.
No, not excuses. I said they lost to inexperience. The team was put together 3 years ago.
Okay,
True
what
or
happened
false?
last season?
I try to be scientific about these things.
What happened last season?
Last season, okay, 2 seasons ago, Arsenal was beaten by Man City by 15 or 16 points and by goals and 5 points. The season that just ended, what did Arsenal do? They had an equal number of goals, and the Man City beat them by what? What do you call that? Is it not progress mathematically?
Chikudi, I do not know so much about football, but with the prediction that you just gave, I
Yes.
would advise you not to venture into opening a church. I do not think that you would flourish in that.
Is that a red card?
This
red card?
This one is problem for me from the village, in the shape of a...
Is that a red card? Chooks.
I don't think it will flourish. Look at the finality of her in her tone. But if we still have time, what about the other teams? How are they doing? Let's not be so Arsenal, you know.
I'm not talking
phobic.
about Chelsea for now because right now we don't have strikers, so that's our.
What about the one they said had taken over from Drogba? Is it Nicola? What is his name?
Who?
The lanky guy. They said Drogba is reincarnated. You know.
Oh no, he
Drogba
has left long ago.
No, there's a guy that strikes for you now. They said he was going to be like Drogba. What is his name now? Jackson. Come on. What about him? I thought you guys said he had effectively taken over from Drogba.
No. We didn't.
Chelsea would always have stories to tell.
We didn't say that.
They ran and took Modric.
We didn't.
Modric from Arsenal before we could buy. And now he's a liability.
No.
If he had come to Arsenal, he would do a lot better than he's doing now. They call it nemesis.
All right, let's leave sports.
Retribution.
Let's leave sports, please. Let's talk about.
Give us something else.
2027.
Yes.
Have you been seeing the posters of different?
I actually had to work on a documentary.
That's what they call
somebody
distraction.
was talking about 2027. Nigerians are always free to do what they want to do. It is you are free to engage in anything that is not illegal. No problem about that. But the point is, what are we doing to governance while 2027 is being contemplated? You know, after elections, governance must take over, and politicians must take that phase very important.
Well, after this discussion, newspaper, then the real discussion that we have today must also take over. Chooks?
Thank you.
Thank you. So we want to take over now.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now take a break. Good Morning Nigeria continues. Stay with us.
Did you know that President Bola Tinubu has approved the suspension of import duties and tariffs on rice, maize and other essential food items for the next 5 months? The President has also approved the suspension of import duties on pharmaceutical raw materials and equipment. This will help bring down the prices of food and drugs across the country. All hands are on deck to ensure that things get better for all Nigerians. This is the renewed hope.
Bye, Mom.
He's going to play in this weather. Why did you let him go? He might fall ill.
And if he doesn't go out for practice, how will he win more trophies? To protect our family from illness-causing germs during the rainy season, we use Dettol soap every day.
Dettol with Germ Defense gives you protection. Raining season brings a lot of germs, and Dettol soap's Germ Defense protects you from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
One passenger. Big auntie, go enter this bus.
Ha! Oga conductor, this guy cough na serious matter. You suppose go hospital.
Hospital care.
Haba, doctors don talk am say different types of cough dey. Some na dry cough, but this your own na wet cough e be.
Big auntie, na God go bless you. I don tire for this my conductor and him cough wey no gree go. E fit even be tuberculosis.
Conductor, go check am o, make you dey sure, because who no go? No go no.
Check that cough for tuberculosis.
If cough don't worry you past 2 weeks, if it be tuberculosis, TB test and treatment, na free. Just call the National TB Hotline for 3340 or dial *3340# to get better information. This message now from the Federal Ministry of Health with support from the American people them.
NTA Television College Jos, with a pedigree of producing indelible professionals in the media space and an affiliate of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, for the award of degree in mass communication, calls on prospective candidates to leverage on the following courses it offers for 2024-2025 academic session. BSc Mass Communication, those with minimum admissible score of 180 and above who sat for the 2024 JAMB/UTME and direct entry, while 100 to 179 minimum admissible score can apply for the National Innovation Diploma NID in Film and Television Production, Broadcast Journalism and Television Engineering. For more inquiries, visit our website or call 0803 383 4343. Announcer, Registrar.
Can you smell the 5 million naira?
Yeah. We can.
Can you smell the 5 million naira? Yeah. Name something that might be a deal breaker for you in a romantic relationship.
Trust.
Cheating.
I would say small D.
Mommy, are you shy?
Can't see. We are coping.
Oluwa Seun.
No pressure.
Pressure to what?
No pressure.
2 strikes.
No pressure.
Name a way most people get over their ex.
Crying.
Crying.
Something says.
This season, enjoy all the better moments with GoTV. Your football party GoTV, they give you better deal of decoder plus GoTenna for only 19,900 naira. Make you enjoy correct football action live on Top Super Sport. GoTV, love it.
Nigeria means a lot to me.
And Nigeria means peaceful cohesion.
My country.
We continue to pray, and then hopefully we will come to understand that unity of purpose, unity of living together.
Our ethnic beliefs and background and culture is our strength.
Ever since the amalgamation period of 1914 to date, about 109 years ago, the people of Nigeria live very peacefully with one another.
I think diversity helps a lot to enhance robust development in Nigeria.
All over the country, you have so many ethnic groups, over 250. That is enough to tell you that this is a blessed country, and God has kept together as one indivisible entity.
It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA. And to begin our conversation on reviving cotton and textile industry, let's quickly take a look at this excerpt put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
Cotton is a low margin industry, so you only make your money when you have economy of scale. You have the rotors. We have 9.6 million rotors. We have only 12,000 rotors in Nigeria. It is not the duty of government to buy rotors. There is already existing incentive for importation of these industry-based equipments in our trade policies. Tariffs, they all enjoy different preferential treatments and tariff treatments. You have the weaving looms. You have 2.7 million weaving looms globally. We have only 8,500. We have knitting, 101,000. Have only 80 in Nigeria. So when you look at these countries have been able to enhance their CTG sector, bring down the cost, the unit cost, they invested massively in this infrastructure.
We are not short of policies. We had policies, but we are not implementing policies. So it has been a policy somersault that has not been consistent, and that is why we are where we are now.
As a manufacturer in textile for the last 46 years, I established my own industry myself. I concluded that there is internal and external sabotage against all the policies started right from Chief Obasanjo's period to date. Most of the policies have been frustrated at one stage or another.
All this kind of insecurity is lack of jobs. We have the jobs from cotton textile garment. We have millions of jobs that can be given to our indigenous and citizens of Nigeria. We have 84 million square kilometers of fertile soil in Nigeria. But we are not treating the soil, we are not testing the soil, and our farmers are having poor yield. Poor yield is our problem.
We have to do everything possible to bring the sector back. You know, there are some basic things that are supposed to be there. Like Dr. Kingsley was talking about the cotton length, fiber quality, trash content and everything. There is a peculiar equipment that we are using to determine all these qualities, but they are not there. It's a high volume instrument.
So they must be there.
They must be there to increase the competitiveness of Nigerian cotton.
All right.
Okay, well, I think the only way to reactivate this value chain is in two areas. That is patronage, make sure that procurement policy are tailored to patronizing locally textile goods. And then secondly, we have issue of taxation, multiple taxation. Already the present administration had a committee to review the tax. We have to stop this minimum taxation whereby companies that make genuine losses are taxed. So I think taxes should be based on profit alone, and also there's a need to fund our educational system so that we can produce qualified workers that will work in the industries.
Yeah, thank you, Yemi, for that excerpt from our last conversation on the cotton and textile industry. And we already have our guests seated in the studio and other parts of the country. In the studio this morning, we have Dr. Kingsley Uzoma as the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity. Dr. Uzoma, you are welcome once again to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning.
All right. Also joining us from Lagos is the DG Nigerian Textile Manufacturers Association, a member of Cotton Textile Garment. I'm talking about Alhaji Haman Ali Kwajafa. Alhaji Kwajafa, you are welcome to Good Morning Nigeria once again. Alhaji Kwajafa, you.
Hello.
Alhaji Kwajafa.
From Lagos, we move to Kano, where we have Seidu Datjo Adama, the chairman, Adama Textile and Garment Industry. Many thanks, Seidu Datjo Adama, for joining us.
Thank you and good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, let's just stay with you there, the chairman of Adama Textile and Garment Industry, because, you know, the last time we spoke, you had so much to talk about, but we couldn't, speak much. But I want you, I'm talking about Seidu now, in our Kano studio. In our last conversation, we established the state of Nigeria's textile industry. But the question is, how expedient is it to have these moribund industries jacked back to life?
Thank you very much for this question. First of all, training is very important. Financing, enabling environment, and many others. But to cushion them all, patience and continued or sustainable support from government and the general public. I want to appreciate in the first instance the effort of this government to see to the training of garment and textile. Exactly 1 week, we started training under the ITF project approved by Mr. President. We are grateful to that. That will kickstart the training and taking the advantage of exporting labor to other countries in terms of tailoring. When I say exporting labor, people may not understand. I am putting it in this way. There is a great opportunity in the Middle East, Europe, and America for Nigeria to export its skills in garments. That is what federal government is now trying to do, and through ITF. Already, Bank of Industry is doing also a good job. But like the special advisor said in the past, Honorable Izoma, that they are doing it once again. So if you want to reinvigorate the sector, this training is very important. What we want is now to see that government go to the next step in the training of textiles. We have lost a lot of skilled labor in the past years. I could remember quickly to mention, I met one of my staff on the way driving Kenapep. He sold his car. He was a graduate of chemistry. He was working in the finishing department. We can no longer sustain him. He has to sell his car. He told me he's a father of 5 with a mother and himself. He has no job, but he has to sell his car to go into NAPEP. You see, we have lost him. Now, the next step of reviving this sector is training. Training will give us the opportunity now to have good young men and women to be in the sector. Another thing is allowing the money already established, already there, to the best of my knowledge. If I am wrong, I can be corrected. The money is either with the Office of the Accountant General or with the Central Bank. I'm not sure. This money, we are made to know, or we are sure of, had been generated from the Customs and Excise under the Textile Development Levy. This levy is supposed to be a fund that will support textile. It has been there for years. The money is there idle, or it is being used for something we are not sure. So if that money will be now supported by our bill currently in the National Assembly, which we want to have a textile commission. Textile commission will help us out of so many bureaucracy. Private sector does not know bureaucracy. Things that can be done in a year takes us 7-8 years to do. One thing is avoid ignoring presidential orders. We also want the special advisor to please take note of this. Last dispensation, we have reached up to the stage of president giving presidential order 3, and I think also 5 or 7. But that one, as he said, is not implemented. So the implementation strategy and methodology of all the past policies is one of the main challenges, followed by an easy way of sabotaging government efforts in 2 things, 2 major things. I always say that agricultural sector and garment sector is being eyed by saboteurs of Nigerian economy. Nigeria will not be allowed to clothe its population. Nigeria is not going to be allowed to feed its population. So what I will insist in saying, I had been saying it, that support the agricultural sector and support the textile sector by developing the cotton production and then supporting the whole value chain up to the packaging, packing, finishing. Now, if you go to any textile mill in Nigeria, to the best of my knowledge, those that are existing, have challenges in finishing, packaging, and finishing, packaging, and some few other things that will make the product attractive and competitive in the market. So we have a little way to push the federal government by advising them to continue with patience. Patience in the training, patience in the financing, patience in the implementation or amending the implementation methodology or providing proper implementation strategy so that all the policies, all what is expected to support the sector is being touched one after the other, leaving no vacuum. This is what I can say for now, with a strong appeal for the patience to the government to see that all efforts done in the past are supported again and again.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Saidu Datijo Adhama, for your opening comments there. Of course, the target of this conversation is reviving the textile industry, and you have highlighted some of the issues at the moment. And I like Alhaji Hama Ali Kwajafa, who is the DG, Nigerian Textile Manufacturers Association, and member of Cotton Textile Garment, to let us know, what resulted in the decline in the industry. Some say the structural adjustment programs, as well as other policies of government, are responsible for where we are. I want you to please highlight some of those policies that affected the textile industry negatively, just so that we can learn from them, I'm sure. All right. Okay. Alhaji Kojafa, we hope your connection gets better so, you can get back to us. But let's come back here in the studio. Dr. Uzoma, you listened to Alhaji Saidu Datijo Adhama, speak about some of his concerns. He talked about training of personnel, financing, patience, and all of that. Now that this government is planning to revitalize this industry, what areas, is government looking at to get this industry back on track?
Thank you, and thank you, Alhaji Datijo. The government, under the leadership of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, wants to take a holistic view of the entire sector. Previously, in the past administrations, not the last in the past, every administration has always talked about how to revive the sector for the sake of creating employment and enhancing its contribution to GDP and foreign exchange earning in the country. However, on a critical diagnostic analysis of those interventions and policy framework, we discovered that they were disaggregated or fragmented in silos. For instance, the foundation you have, just like you have in the oil industry, the upstream, midstream, and downstream. The upstream, the production, the cotton, you cannot begin to talk of the downstream without factoring the upstream. That's in the oil and gas sector. Dangote refinery in the downstream is having problem because we are not producing enough. So also the issue of financing, you find out that the issue of financing mostly is all about the trading, marketing, without providing financing on the retooling or modernization or technical upgradation of existing facilities. We have the ginning and pressing mills, you have the oil mills, the spinning, the rotors, all of them, because we've downscaled our investment in this sector over the last couple of decades. So we are operating with outdated technology. Like when the International Cotton Advisory Committee came to the Vice President conference room, somebody pointed out, told them no. The problem, though our cotton varieties, some cut 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, that's the fiber length is short 27 to 29. However, because of the ginning machineries we are using, they're even cutting them to 20. So that's why international marketability is not there. Also talking about investment, nobody has talked about investment. There is a standard, commercial standardization of instruments testing in cotton. Have we partnered with International Cotton Advisory Committee to make sure that you have all the required high volume instruments for standardization of the testing, so that because the price and production of cotton in the international market is affected by the quality and testing. So you have to have grading, yarn standardization, grading, the very basic quality characteristics like color, like fiber length, fiber strength and thickness, all those things, degree of contamination and trash index. We have not invested in such things. So the industry players had also not helped matters by, because government is not the expert in the sector. The expert in the sector always and will always be the private sector. The suggestion for financial intervention had always centered on giving funds to companies without taking this in holistically. If we don't address it holistically, believe me, we will still be running. I will tell you another thing. Nobody had talked about the trade policy. We're talking about, people talking about armed forces importation. However, I will give you the global market for textile. The largest importers is the European Union. Last year was 287 billion US dollars. United States of America, 145 billion US dollars. So Europe is importing 2 times more than the US. And Europe is just 4 hours away from us. So we take advantage of the access to these major markets. And in the Europe again, we have 2 trade policies that, this is what I had expected that we should be pushing. There is a trade policy called GSP, Generalized Scheme of Preferences. And it has 3 sub-categories: standard, GSP, GSP Plus, and GSP EBA. Nigeria is only on standard GSP, and what you enjoy in standard GSP, there is no special preference for the CTG sector in the standard preference, in the standard GSP. You can only negotiate tariff cut, partial or full, on 2/3 of your exports to that country. However, GSP Plus, as textile and textile articles as a line item in the GSP Plus trade policy, is 0 tariff. So if we had worked hard, pressed government to make sure our negotiators, trade attaches to European Union, had been able to, navigate Nigeria from the point of standard GSP to the point of GSP Plus, which all the indicators Nigeria tick the check boxes, that will give us an instant 12% tariff advantage to import from China, from Turkey, and from all these countries. And what does that mean? Though we have a higher cost of production in Nigeria, quote unquote, if it's produced $100 in China and it's produced $110 in Nigeria, you will still sell at a price competitive distance to the Chinese importation, because you factor in the long logistic cost, and you also factor in the additional 12% that China is supposed to sell, because that Chinese own with tariff is landing at $112, whereas the one from Nigeria manufactured at 10% higher than the Chinese is still landing below the cost price of the Chinese own. And then you have the EBA, but you are not qualified, we are not the least developed country. The GSP Plus, GSP was instituted in 2014, expired in December 2023, and was extended to 2027. We are not there. There is also another one, the European Economic Partnership Agreement. In fact, one of the benefits is because it gives confidence, like giving a lot of comfort to an investor for the foreseeable future, because it is not time bound, it is endless. So it will not help countries to attract investment, because this investment, government gives $70 billion. It's not enough to activate. When I told you last week that 500,000, the required investment to have in place to get that 7.2 to 8.22 billion dollars per annum in revenue from this is in billions of dollars. So that 70 cannot.
What is government doing to attract this investment?
That is why I said that President Tinubu is taking it up from a holistic point of view. For instance, if you pump in all the necessary fund without addressing these shortfalls in the trade policies, we will still not be very competitive. So we will work on moving Nigeria to GSP Plus. We work on rectifying the EPA. So, and then on the funding issue, once you have all these policies, I told you the Arise Industrial Conglomerate, the Vice President, they're investing 1.3.
Do you have a time frame for all this?
Which we have fragmented it into short term, mid term, and long term. Okay. So the short term is getting these policies. Short term is getting industrial gap analysis on the technological shortfalls for our primary industries within the sector, the generaries, so that we'll know what
is lacking, how we can retool them and upgrade them to meet up to the global standard, so that the fiber quality that will be coming out of them will meet the global standard. And then we have the midterm, we have in the short term also we need a policy, because the policy will also, all these things I'm talking about, the shortfalls, these are the things that the policies will bring to bear and address them comprehensively, so that an investor within the sector can have that level of confidence for the foreseeable future. So, and also the issue of 500,000 hectares, bringing them to cultivation, that can happen as soon as possible. This year's planting season has been lost. So we are starting now to plan effectively and efficiently to make sure that we get back to farm. The issue of low quality seeds, the next thing we'll do is assessing the library of germplasm from countries of the same agroecological condition and the same altitude level. Like we have in Garua, Maro, Cameroon, in parts of Ivory Coast, they have some varieties that, because the last variety that developed in Nigeria was in 2003, that's 21 years ago. But these ones, they have new varieties. While we tax our research institutes, the Seed Council, the IAR, the Raw Material Research, the National Biotechnology, all of them to come up with variety. But it takes time, so we cannot fold our arms and say until we develop our variety. Whereas we know that if a variety A can work well in Garua and Marua, operating in the same altitude and the same soil and agroecological conditions in Nigeria, what we need to do is to go and take those varieties from them and run immediate adaptability trial and begin to, and they have the ones that are fantastic, the gening percentage of up to 44%.
Dr. Zuma, sorry to cut you. In all that you have said, you're talking about what we will do, what we will do. What is being done at the moment?
That is what is being done. Is the process has started. That is why we have identified these challenges and opportunities, because it is not something we wake up today and say, oh, I'm planting 500,000 hectares today. We have started the process. The process is identifying the challenges in the sector and opportunities, and what are the best least cost pathway of leveraging those opportunities to the advantage of the Nigerian cotton and textile economy.
Is the government doing all of this on its own, or you're partnering with people like Seidu Datijo in all of this?
Yes, that was why when the International Cotton Advisory Committee came, it was supposed to be a meeting of the vice president, meeting the vice president alone, but all the major sectors in the industry. Haman Kwajafa was there. All of them, Generis, Millers, Textile, Garment people, they were all represented. Federal Industrial Research Institute in Oshodi was represented. Raw Material Research was represented. Minister of Science and Technology was represented. Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Agriculture.
All right, fantastic. So with all of these plans on board, just a minute, you have still not told us the time frame that all of this will begin to materialize.
It will begin to materialize next year, because this year, like the cotton training in ITF and also another grant from World Trade Organization also for that, we have to retrain and retool the basic facilities. So by next year, we'll begin to see this thing yield its fruits.
Okay, by next year. Okay, by next year, we begin to see the all the efforts yielding fruits. Let's bring in the DG, Nigerian Textile Manufacturers Association, and members of Cotton Textile Garment, Haman Kwajafa. Okay, I believe that you have been listening to the conversation so far, and you have heard some of the identified issues, challenges, bedeviling the cotton and the textile industry. In your own view, it is speculated that the structural adjustment program is also part of it, and part of the decline and probably the unstable government policies. What are your own views?
Very much. Can you hear me? Hello? My own view clearly is that we must be competitive. Nigeria must be competitive to be able to do business, and the ease of doing business department is doing its best, but they are not doing as well as what we expect, because when you are competitive, you must benchmark what you are doing with other countries, and it must be equal with them for the prices to be the same. If you are competing with, say, Vietnam, for instance, you must have a very good enabling environment. so that our customers, our manufacturers can export and play at even playing ground with the other countries, so that they don't carry their goods to say other America, African Growth and Opportunity Act, American Growth and Opportunity Act given to us by Obama since then, and they always come back with their goods because our prices can't go the same because we have very costly infrastructure and enabling environment in Nigeria. Cost of price of power, even in Nigeria, is different domestically. The price of power in Kano, Lagos, and Onitsha are different. So we must have tariff that is the same for us to be very, very competitive. If we are not able to achieve that, we'll find it difficult to go into real business. And the African Growth and Opportunity Act, which we are expecting to come for Africa, they are looking at Nigeria as the largest market. And if we're not careful, people will come and enjoy our market, and we that are manufacturers here have not been able to compete with, say, Mauritius, Madagascar, or even Ethiopia, because they have what is called textile park, and their governments protect them in the sense that if there's any increase, government should be able to take it up and not allow the increase to affect manufacturers. This is what's happening in the world, that they are not backward, and Nigeria continues to be backward and to close because we don't have the enabling environment properly. Vietnam has a very big enabling environment. That's why Samsung from America is coming to Vietnam to establish a factory. These are the kind of enabling environment that we need in Nigeria. When you say government is not part of business, or government is not supposed to be involved in business, it is wrong. Because it's the duty of government to provide enabling environment for every manufacturer to set up. So once we have that enabling environment, we can work. Just like in the last meeting, last discussion, we found out that Nigeria is planning a textile park in Funtua, for instance. But what you see up to today, since last 5 years, has been just a big gate. And no infrastructure has been developed in the textile park in Funtua. So definitely, if we are prepared to do business, we must put our acts together and look at international standards. Because what we are talking about Arise now, Arise is not on ground yet. What textiles have been existing for long. Arise is just coming up. What happens to the other companies, the other factories that are being set up, that are there already? And you know, you have to look into their problems for you to go ahead and achieve the needful for Nigeria and for companies to thrive. Because the low-hanging fruits are important. It's not just about a new investor coming in, and we have not seen the acts to get yet, so we cannot depend on them 100%. We must look at what is on ground and try to bring them up and continue. Otherwise, they will now collapse, and we will not be able to meet up the challenges. So, in the past, there have been lots of loans, foreign loans, and foreign loans have been cheaper. But then with now the devaluation of the naira and the exchange rate, you find out it's very, very challenging for businesses to thrive. So these kind of things must be looked into very well, because those exporting, those coming from other countries, have incentives from their countries. They give them incentives when they are exporting into another country, importing to other countries. And you know, because of these challenges in Nigeria, any fabric coming into Nigeria, Nigerian Textile Manufacturers Association is supposed to have 10% textile adjustment tax from the customs. And that kind of fund is supposed to defray the cost of manufacturing textiles in Nigeria. But since then, nobody has seen where the fund is going to. That 10% that we get. So this kind of fund is supposed to defray the cost, not necessarily asking government to defray for us. We have a textile adjustment tax, and that's what is supposed to be used. If we have high tariff on power, that fund is supposed to adjust so that we can compete with other countries. For instance, Uganda, they are charging 4 cents per kilowatt hour of electricity at their textile park. That's what the government has done for them. And that 4 cents per kilowatt hour must be there for you to compete with other countries. Nigeria is about 21 cents per kilowatt hour. So we must defray all these kind of costs to be able to compete. If we don't defray them, there's no way our businessmen can thrive. Because, for instance, our dealers have run away. Our dealers have run away because they know they're going to meet up. Instead, they steal our designs, go to China, manufacture with the polyester instead of the cotton. In fact, they drop the cotton totally. Now they fill our markets with polyester products. And we cannot get polyester in Nigeria because we are not refining petroleum in the crude in Nigeria. Nigerian crude is refined outside. So those byproducts, like this polyester, we cannot get it from Nigeria. What LMA is producing is not of commercial quantity. So it cannot be used in factories here. So the myriad of challenges has to be looked into for us to come up and for companies to work with 100% capacity instead of just 20% capacity. We should have 100% capacity and do business with other countries, and then the factories will thrive, and we'll be able to pay our workers. Even this 70%, 17,000 naira minimum wage will be difficult for most of the manufacturing companies to pay, because we are not in business. Our products are counterfeited. We are not in our own market has been taken. Even Lagos, Kaduna, Kano, Onisha, we cannot have the market. It's been taken. So nobody can sit idly and see our markets being taken and nothing is being done about it. All these people are investors. They have brought in FDI, foreign direct investment. All these foreign direct investment are trying to bring, the arise of foreign direct investment, they are just coming in. What happened to the old ones? We have lots of investors. I said there are more than 24 textile companies now.
Great points, Alhaji Hama Kwajafa, you have made there. The issues are enormous, like you have highlighted, and we hope that the government gets it right this time around. But let's get to Seidu Datijo Adhama. I know that you listened keenly to Dr. Ozama when he spoke, extensively about what the government plans to do. I want you to put holes in some of the comments he has made about reviving the textile industry. Do you really think that, the way he has, outlined it smoothly, that's how smooth it would go? Let us know what you think the likely challenges will be, as being a key player in the sector. And then earlier when you spoke, you talked about, staff of yours who now drives a keke napep instead of, being in the textile industry and doing so much in refining products. Do you think that with the way government intends to go with all of this, it will bring back, people like that, your staff, back in the industry? Or do you think that having a new crop of, industry players is the way to go?
Well, these are things that need to be fully discussed. But what we are saying, like Mr. Kwajafa has just mentioned, what happens to the old ones? Like my factory, I'm 46 years in the business. Let me take up from the micro level. What I mean by micro level is local level. Patronage. If we will look at this situation one after the other, let's see, how can government patronize locally made products? There are many ways. Address them. How can government fund the sector in full, meaning that the circle has to be full, not only the money. In the past, I mentioned finishing and packaging, forgetting to mention value addition. Proper value addition is needed in the Nigerian textile sector. But when it comes to funding that sector, we find challenges because there is no sufficient foreign exchange to allow us import the necessary machinery to support the value addition, the packaging, the finishing. All these are added to our problems and challenges. Most of Nigerian textiles, I'm not saying all, have good texture. We can be competitive in the texture, in the real manufacturing. Our cotton can do some of the good textile materials because they were doing before. Many textiles in Nigeria were producing for the army, for the first-class citizens, and so on. Why not now? The machineries are more advanced now. We can buy them. But the finishing, when you go to some countries, they will advertise machines. When you want to buy it, they will say, oh, this one is not for export market. Let Nigeria understand this. This is not for export market. And you ask us to liberalize our economy. You ask us to devalue our currency. You ask us to deregulate our economy. And when we go to the economy, we ask for certain kind of machines. They say it's not for export market. It's for domestic market. That machine will produce maybe 100,000 meters in an hour.
We have lost. We have lost him.
This and see how do we come into the same platform in our markets. We are struggling to have between 25 and 30% market share of textile. Look at Nigerian population. If you have 200 million people to clothe them, Nigerian manufacturers are only asking about 1/4 of that population to clothe. Then what will government come in, what type of policy government will come in with so that 25 to 30% market share, it will be exclusively reserved for Nigerian textile markets. There are many ways of incentives and so on that our local product can get into the market. But allowing free market economy, like they say, to be only operatable in our country, not in their country, this is not fair. One other thing we should not take note of. I still believe, and I'm confident, that if policy will be
Well, I think we're having some issues connecting properly, network issue there with Datijo. Now let's get back to the studio. Uzoma, you have listened to, some of the challenges faced by these manufacturers concerning the textile and the cotton industry in Nigeria. And they have listed these protecting the local manufacturers. They want to find out what government is doing to protect the local manufacturers, what are the incentives government is providing, and also the issue of funding and policies. How do you react to all these issues?
Well, I will start with the funding issue. Like I had always said from last week that why most of these interventions fail, because we take them bit by bit. It has to be comprehensive. It has to be holistic. You have to do the root cause analysis. You know, in the last administrations, both Jonathan, both President Buhari, there were interventions in the sector. What is the performance rate of those loan interventions? Because the interventions did not do a holistic root cause analysis before intervening. It's not the issue of throwing money. A lot of money was sent for cotton farming. What is the percentage performance of such facilities? So you cannot say you want to throw money to factories. That is why President Tinubu is taking it up holistically by doing gap analysis of the existing generaries pressing factories, textile factories, what are the standard limitations they are facing? So that if a company comes, if that factory based on gap analysis, you now discover that it is better to throw it away and get a new one, or to retool it, or to, reconfigure it to modern distance. But if you don't do that, you just throw in money. It's just like you buy a new house that is dilapidated, you have to come with a structural engineer to take a structural analysis of that house before you begin to say whether repaint or whether you renovate. If you don't do that, it will still come back because that may have a foundational problem. That I will give you an instance. Last year, Vietnam export of textile materials was 46.79 billion. Import was 28.04. So the net FS influx is $18.75 billion. Look at Pakistan, a lower margin, 1/3 of their export. Pakistan was $16.24 billion. Import was $2.96 billion. You have a trade advantage of 13-point-something billion in excess. This is 46.8, call it 47 against 16. The net difference, 13-point-something, 18-point-something. So Pakistan, when I talked about trade policy, looked at all these things where they have competitive advantage and they focused on that. That's raw material. So Pakistan retweaked their textile policy to enhance cotton production, fiber production, the fiber quality, the color, maturity, brightness, degree of yellowness.
Because of time,
So,
Dr.
so
Uzoma.
how is government retreating its own policies?
That is why
to achieve this.
We started this. We are doing bit by bit structural analysis of the industry, of the ecosystem. Because you cannot just recommend to Mr. President, go to farming, go to garment, just like also the garment. You cannot train a qualified expert, within 1 month or 2 months. We have started. It's Alhaji Datijo that stated it. It is because Mr. President understands the needs of retooling. Because our tailors in Nigeria, you all know, sometimes when they sew, the bottom will go out. You don't export it. They can't compete.
The target of all of this is to increase export,
to increase local production, import substitution. Because
but how do you want to do about what do you want to do about the local consumption? Because the non-implementation of the 2017 Executive Order 003 is responsible for where we are at the moment. So how do you want to change that?
I will give you an instance. This government is just 1 year. So it cannot begin to tackle problem of 10 years immediately.
Okay.
And if you say you want to implement that immediately, holistically, can we meet up the local consumption, local demand?
I think we have to leave this conversation at this point. Thank you very much, Dr. Kingsley Uzoma, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Agribusiness and Productivity. I'm sure we'll have you some other time because this conversation is a continuous one and we want to see progress in the textile industry. Of course, Alhaji Hama Ali Kwajafa, DG Nigeria Textile Manufacturers Association and member of Cotton Textile Garment. Thank you for being a guest again today. We do sincerely appreciate you. And of course, Seidu Datiju Adhama, Chairman Adhama Textile and Garment Industry. Thank you once again for your insights on the program. So we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll get into the second leg of our conversation today. Stay with us.
The federal government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipments will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
Relief is coming. More wages, reduced costs. Nigeria's national minimum wage is now 70,000 naira and it will be reviewed every 3 years. The federal government will commence immediate implementation and state governments are being encouraged to follow suit. With the presidential CNG initiative, transport costs are coming down. Are you a car owner or a transporter? Visit www.pci.gov.ng to find out how you can benefit from switching to CNG. This is the renewed hope.
Meet lovebirds Jayola and Adama Davies. Their dream of living together as man and wife has finally been fulfilled.
The latest couple in town. Hey! Mr. and Mrs. Giant Davis!
But an invasion by their troublesome families was not a scenario they bargained for. Her mother moves in. His mother shows up with his little niece. Then her younger sister joins the scramble.
You want to stay?
Married life suddenly becomes very complicated even before it started. Follow their story on this channel as they confront every challenge as it comes. Family forever, the story of our lives.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
You have to move from the point where you protect and defend your religion to a point where you also recognize the rights of the other person, of the other religion, and protect it. So if I am protecting my own territory and my own people and trying to emphasize their rights and protect their rights, I should also be thinking about how to protect the rights of the others.
Both Islam and Christianity recognize and defer to God, and both recognize the temporariness of the life of this world, and that ultimately we all go back to God for the day of reckoning, when everybody will render an account of his life on this temporary abode.
Back. It's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the NTA, and looking at our topic, learning and development in a digital world. Most organizations, arguably thrive on human capital development, and that is why many emphasize on continuously learning and development for national and global growth.
Yeah, Larry, you're right, and it actually reminds me of the saying that does that if you don't train them, you don't, blame them.
Well said.
So invariably, training and development is a continuous process and must not be taken for granted.
Okay, if we take it for granted, of course, we're doomed. Now, indeed, Demola, you have spelled it out correctly. It's actually imperative for any leadership development expert, to seriously look at these issues in this digital era where artificial intelligence is taking roots and asserting itself. So the question is, how essential is it for professionals to adapt and equip themselves with the right skills to thrive? And this brings us to our next conversation, which is on learning and development in digital world. And joining us to discuss this is Bulus James, FITD President and Chairman of Council. Many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. I will also have with us Reverend Dr. Olutoyin Shembore.
You won't allow the end to come out.
Shembore.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I learned a new one. FITD, First Vice President, Chairman, Annual Training Conference Committee. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's start with the president now, Bulus James, and we're talking about digital, development now. How essential is learning and developing skills in the digital world?
Thank you very much for having me. Let me correct my sister. FITD is not the institute. It's Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. FITD is Fellow Institute of Training and Development. That is the title we hold as fellows. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, my dear anchormen. Digital world. Today we are living in a digital world. Nothing is being done today without technology. As trainers that we are, we have to leverage on that technology to pass our message across to the entire world. And the digital revolution has brought so much into the training space that no trainer can succeed in today's world without digital experience. So it is, let me say, the background or the foundation at which any trainer can succeed in today's world.
Okay.
So it's very important.
In a country like ours, would you say that we prioritize development skills for a thriving economy?
Pardon?
Do we prioritize development skills in this country at the moment?
I can't talk for the country as a whole, but as professionals that we are, yes, we are striving to make sure that we get people to be professionals in the areas of their calling.
I think what she's trying to say is from your own observation of the development in the country, would you say most organizations and parastatals are giving priority to the development of their human capacity in this line?
I would say from my own professional point of view, not as much.
Okay.
Because training is seen in some climes as a privilege, whereas from the professional point of view, we see it as a right, because if you don't train them, you don't blame them. And they said if you want to quantify the cost of training, try ignorance. So we need to train people for them to deliver that which you expect them to deliver. So we're not doing much as a country.
Of course, but what we see is that they don't train people and then they blame them. But let's get to you now, Reverend. I'll stop at Reverend, you know, before I get used to the name. You know, what's your institute all about? He gave the correction, Nigerian Institute of Training and Development. Tell us about what your institute is doing and how is it helping to close the gap in learning and skills development.
Thank you, Bianca. Let me quickly add to what the President has said concerning whether people are prioritizing training or not. If you look at the metrics in Nigeria, I know our companies, organizations are trying their best. The digital index, metrics, we are between 1.8 and 5, whereas the global figure should be 6. So if you look at that point, it means we are what?
Behind.
Thank you, sir. So it means we still need to do more. We still need to work more. The leadership still need to give room for people to go on training, to keep learning. You know, there can be an organizations where the leadership does not give conducive environment to learning. There will be a problem. Okay. But we get to some organizations, learning and development is part of the, what they call it, their KPI. They will tell you at the beginning of the year, you must go on this course, you must go on this course, you must go on this course, you must achieve. So that when you sit down at the end of the year with your superior, it's not only looking at your performance. It's not only looking at your emotional intelligence. It's also looking at, have you gone on those courses? Because they know in the end, it's going to benefit the individual and also at large going to benefit the organization. Okay. So that's what I want to add, that the metrics
enhance the capacity of both the individual and the organization.
But I know people are trying, like the program that is starting tomorrow. Okay. That's why you will see a lot of people coming in from Lagos, coming in from other parts of the country to attend that conference, knowing fully well that it
She
is.
asked the question, so what is your institute all about? What is your institute all about? I mean, and how does it help to close the gap, you know, in learning?
Number one,
yes,
we have to establish and maintain best practice in training, in facilitation, and in learning and development. Also, we want to ensure in NITA, that's Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, it's not only, what I call it, it's not only a career. We have many people on the membership. We are talking of lawyer, we are talking of engineers, we are talking of surveyor, we are talking of HR. It comprises all professions. So what we are saying there is, it depends on which area are we looking at to develop our people. But overall, the overall issue is, or bottom line is to ensure that where there are gaps, we try to close that gap via training, via facilitation, and to also ensure, to tell our members that they must continue to learn. You know, training can be a one moment, but learning and development is a continuous process. And if you don't learn, you won't be able to navigate, especially in the digitally controlled landscape and where we are. So we in NITAD we emphasize training, but we also emphasize learning and development. Hence, that topic we are doing this year, that's saying learning and development, a key to thriving in a digital world. Because we realize, we are sure, we know, everybody knows we are in a digital world. And for you to navigate the complexity, for you to navigate the challenges, you have to keep learning. That's why we are bringing people to Abuja, where they will be interacting with L&D thought leaders, top executive, well-bred professionals, where they will interact and take something new.
You're building human capital development, which is fantastic. But of course, the world is evolving, and we're moving into a very fast digital age. AI is taking over, so we may not need humans, very soon. Because I was talking with someone, some days ago, and I was saying, well, a lot of skills, you may not need humans anymore. AI will just come in and do the magic. So do you really think that that's what we need at this point in this country? Just so we can meet up with the developing world? Or rather, the developed world?
I won't agree totally that eventually AI, I know AI, like I said initially before we came on, is part of digital world. It's a process that identifies, that understands English and written words. But at the same time, we still need humans to run the organizations, to run the businesses, to achieve our goals. I know AI, that's why we are on training. So what we need to do is to blend the two so that it can benefit each other at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the president, Bulus James. We know that, this AI that my colleague talked about, you still need human to give control to AI for it to be able to function properly. So there is no way that human being will be eradicated completely. So there'll still be room for human to function.
Yeah.
So what level of engagement is required for organizations to adapt, in this new world and equip themselves with the right skills? What right skills do you think organizations and the staff need at this particular point in time?
Yeah, thank you very much. Organizations require the digital skills that is trending in the world today. You will agree with me that if you go to universities today, you discover in their information, communication, and technology departments, they have new courses emerging. I'm aware some universities run cybersecurity courses, which was not there before now. Even AI is trending in the West. So many digital related courses. It means there is a kind of a preparation towards that revolution that is fast coming. So from our own point of view, as trainers, we need to emphasize on those skills, the AI skills, the digital skills that is required for data analytics, for instance. Everywhere we require it. People need to understand how to process data, how to use data, how to present themselves to the world as far as the realities are concerned. So there is no gainsaying the fact that every organization must bring their resources together to make sure that they are ready for that revolution.
All right.
I want to commend the government of Nigeria through NIDA, through the Ministry of Communications. They are really doing a lot as far as that is concerned.
All right, Mr. President of the Nigerian Institute of Training and Development, tell us what you intend to achieve with your 31st annual conference, which is built to hold this month. Actually, starting tomorrow, I think.
Starting tomorrow, yes. Thank you very much. This is the chairman of the annual trainers conference, Reverend Shembore. As he said earlier, we are building on the previous topics that we treated. This is the 31st, as you can see. The reality today is the digital world, the technology. So we want to bring out all trainers, learning and development experts, to come and hear from industry experts about the importance and how to leverage on this technology in order to deliver the goods, which is the training that we are doing. No trainer will succeed today without digital experience. So our main objective is to ensure that trainers are abreast with development globally, which is the AI, which is digital. So that is the very objective of this training.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. President. Let's go to the Reverend Shembore. Okay, you want to add to what she said? Okay,
the chairman for the
conference. Being the chairman. Okay,
for the conference.
Let's have your.
I have to thank the president because of the support.
Okay,
he has given towards the 31st annual trainers conference, which is a gathering of all the professionals annually to look at the current topics. I'll tell you the program is starting tomorrow.
Okay,
to end on Thursday. We have lined up many interesting activities. We are going to have about 9 to 10 plenary sessions by tested, what they call experts. We have DeLeon from USA. We have Jose from Spain. We have Olatomiwa Williams, that's the country manager for Microsoft, Nigeria and Ghana. We have Huma Idris, that's the chief commercial officer from Dangote. We have Osita. We have many people that have been lined up for that 3 days. We also have a technical session, which is going to break into 3. Hitherto, we put them together, but a few years back we have realized that not only private or public data test program. So what we tend to do this year is that session, technical session, will be broken into 3. We have the people from the private sector. We have people from the public, and also we are giving room for the entrepreneurs. So we have particularly picked people from those areas. They will be sharing experience from people in public sectors, like civil servants, they will be there. Those in private, like banks, communications.
Those are the eligible people.
Oh, yes. So they will be speaking to those 3 people I've mentioned, the entrepreneurs.
Reverend Olutoye, sorry to cut you, but I'm just wondering, how would this conference cater for all the professionals? Because you said professionals from different fields.
Yes.
And we know that different professionals require, different skills. So how would this one conference fit all?
That's what I've just mentioned. I mentioned there will be plenary session, that's 9. We also have technical. When I say technical, we'll be looking at the private sector, we'll be looking at the public sector, we'll be looking at entrepreneurs. In that area, if you are good in the public, you'll be sharing your address with the public servants. Why people in the private sectors, like banks, communications, all the other areas like that, they will be separate. And also those who are in consultancy, those in entrepreneurs, they too will have the opportunity to listen to speakers who have garnered experiences over the long to share their thoughts with them.
Okay.
Like the plenary, everybody will be together.
Okay.
But at the technical section, we will break.
Okay.
So at that point, we will cater for public servants.
Okay.
We will cater for
So
private.
you have different sections for
God bless
different
you.
categories.
Yes, and also for it. So that's why I say it's interesting. And finally, we have 2 panel sessions where the participants will have the opportunity to throw questions. No, they will look at an issue. After a time, they will now throw questions to the panelists in areas that is bothering them or areas they need clarification. And I can tell you at the end of the sessions, people will have gained a lot of knowledge because via the presentation and interactions.
How many days are going to have this conference for?
It's 3 days.
3 days.
From tomorrow, 28th to 22nd.
What's the requirements to attend?
The requirement in what sense? To participate?
Yes.
Yes, for registered members, they've been consistent. They've been doing their annual subscription. They will pay 90,000. Okay. Why for non-members? When I say non-members, it might be people in private. It might be people who are just setting up. Maybe they've retired, how long years. They are setting up consultancy. They will be taking care under entrepreneurship. Okay. So they will be around. They will pay 1/10. And we also have a lifeline for students and retirees who are still learning. Okay. So I think they will pay roughly 45,000. And those who want to join us online, because of the level of their work and they want to partake, they can join virtually.
Okay, so there is virtual
presentation.
And then
presentation for people now.
Remember,
for those who are in the country or outside the country or global, it's a global conference now.
Exactly. Okay, you remember I mentioned that we have a presenter from America. He's going to be talking to us virtually.
But the prices you just gave now, you didn't tell us the denomination. Is it yen or dollars or?
It's naira.
It's naira.
Okay.
It's naira.
Now,
Mr.
President, let me ask this question. The outcome of your conferences, do you make them available to the government to help in the development of the policies and all that? How do you submit some of your outcomes to the government to assist in policy making?
Thank you very much. Usually after the conferences, we used to release our communique, and those communiques are always documented in our journal. We have our journals, and I think through the journal, it will go to the public. But the question you raised is very important. We'll make a very frantic effort this time around to send it to government, because we have the head of service of the Federation coming to grace our occasion. So at the end of the day, it will be proper for us to report to her about the success of the program. So I think we'll do that this year.
Do you have any involvement of government officials in this program? Because, so that they can also partake and...
Not as such. Not as such. We only invite them as special guests.
Okay.
Yeah, this is purely a private arrangement.
Okay.
We're a professional body. We are not governmental.
How do people become a part of the professional body?
Yes, very important question. We have extended our hand of fellowship to NTA, and very soon we're going to have an induction of a reasonable number of staff here.
Okay.
So you pick a form. Anybody interested in learning and development, training particularly, you pick a form, you fill it, you submit back to us through our website or physical, as the case may be. So you'll be graded according to your years of experience and your qualification. And then the appropriate fees will be sent to you through the letter of provisional admission that the Secretariat will send to you. And then there will be an induction thereafter. Automatically you are a member.
All right, because of time we need to go. But Reverend Olutoyin, what will be your final words to individuals who are thinking, should I attend, should I not attend?
No, they just have to attend. Like we said earlier, we are in the digitally transformed world. And the world is one village now. You have to keep learning. You have to keep, moving on so that you are not left behind. So I want to appeal for those who will be available. They can come. They will listen to people both within and outside Nigeria. And I'm sure at the end of the program,
they will be developed. Where's this taking place?
Miriam Babangida Women Center in front of CBN.
Okay, just across.
Just near here.
Far from here.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. Let me first with Bulus James, who is the president FITD. Thank you for coming on Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you so much.
And also Reverend Dr. Olutoyin Shembore. You are welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Nigeria.
I wish you both a great work.
Thank you. So this is where we draw the curtain on Good Morning Nigeria for today. I am Ademola Adeoye. Do have a fabulous day.
I'm Anne Ray John. Remain tuned to the NTA and have a brilliant day.